Hello and welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Layo Adegoke. Tanzania's first female president, Samia Hassan, is calling for unity in the nation, even as she takes the helm of affairs in the country. During her inaugural speech, she says it is time to bury differences and be one as a nation. She was sworn in by the Chief Justice Ibrahim Juma at State House in Dar es Salaam.
Mimi, Samia Suluhu Hassan.
Samia Hassan is making history as the first female president of Tanzania and in the East African region.
Mimi, Samia Suluhu Hassan.
She becomes the sixth president of Tanzania following Wednesday's death of President John Magufuli from heart-related complications. Wearing a red hijab and taking her oath on the Quran, she was sworn in at the State House in the country's commercial capital, Dar es Salaam.
I was lucky to be Magufuli's vice president. He was a leader who was never tired of teaching and leading by example. He taught me a lot. He was my mentor and prepared me sufficiently.
On Wednesday, just before midnight, as a vice president, she was tasked with breaking the news of the president's death to the country. Under 48 hours after the announcement, she is now the first female president of the country, calling for unity and a time of healing.
This is the time to bury our differences as a country and be one as a nation. It is time to console each other, show each other love, our unity, maintain peace, our humanity and patriotism and Tanzanian values.
Mrs. Hassan is also the country's first head of state from the semi-autonomous Zanzibar archipelago. Described as a softly spoken consensus builder, her leadership style is seen as a potential contrast to the late John Magufuli. She will now have to grapple with the health impact of COVID-19 that her predecessor long denied, including whether to procure vaccines. She also faces the pandemic's economic consequences in a country polarized after 6 years of Magufuli's rule.
Well, the head of the World Health Organization, Ethiopian Tedros Ghebreyesus, has sent his congratulations to Tanzania's newly inaugurated president, saying he hopes they can work together to tackle coronavirus. In a tweet, he says he looks forward to working with President Hassan to keep the people safe from COVID-19, end the pandemic, and achieve a healthier Tanzania. Tanzania has not published details of its coronavirus cases since May 2020, and the government has refused to purchase vaccines despite a plea from the WHO that Tanzanians be inoculated. Instead, former President John Magufuli had called for prayers and herbal-infused steam therapy to counter the virus. In the meantime, President Samia Hassan has announced that Tanzania's late President John Magufuli will be buried next Thursday on the 25th of March in his western home village of Chato. On Sunday, his body will be taken to Uhuru Stadium in the commercial hub of Dar es Salaam for public viewing. A second public viewing has been scheduled in the capital, Dodoma, on Monday, which has been declared a public holiday, and there will also be a third public viewing a day after in the western town of Mwanza, before his body is taken to Mr. Magufuli's hometown. The burial day has also been declared a public holiday. The government said on Wednesday Mr. Magufuli died from heart complications. 61-year-old John Magufuli was known for many things in his country and also internationally. The controversial Tanzanian president was the son of a subsistence farmer who rose to become the president in 2015 and was praised for his no-nonsense approach. Known as the bulldozer, he went on to gain international notoriety for his reaction to the coronavirus pandemic. Here's more on his life and times.
John Pombe Magufuli was the fifth president of Tanzania since its independence in 1961. He was elected president for the first time in October 2015 with 58% of the vote and succeeded Jakaya Kikwete, enjoying a high approval rating. His party, CCM, which has been in power since the country's independence, chose him to represent it among more than 30 candidates. Before becoming president, John Magufuli, who comes from a modest family and holds a degree in chemistry, was a minister several times from the early 2000s. He was entrusted with the portfolios of livestock and fisheries, housing and public works. His resolute action in favor of housing for the poorest had already earned him the nickname of Tinga Tinga, the bulldozer in Swahili, in reference to the construction programs he implemented. As head of state, he promised to fight corruption, develop the country and its economy, and launch major works. As soon as he was elected, he divided his own salary by 4, making him one of the lowest paid African heads of state. He cut public spending drastically, cancelled independence ceremonies as too costly, and began sweeping the streets of the capital, Dar es Salaam, himself to set an example. John Magufuli was re-elected last October in a contested election with more than 84% of the votes. His critics agreed that Magufuli contributed to Tanzania's development, investing in large infrastructure projects such as a standard gauge railway to connect the country with its neighbors, major highways, and a bus system in the commercial hub of Dar es Salaam. He also increased electricity production, reducing the need for power rationing. But it is his approach to COVID-19 that many analysts say will define his legacy. Magufuli had long downplayed the severity of COVID-19. He declared Tanzania COVID-19 free last June, saying the virus had been eradicated by 3 days of national prayer. He also mocked the efficacy of masks, expressed doubts about testing, and teased neighboring countries which imposed health measures to curb the virus. He was married with 5 children.
Well, joining us now is Hassan Bumbuli, a Tanzanian journalist. For more on this, he joins us from Dar es Salaam. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Network Africa. Do tell us more about today's event. What is the mood in the country, even as President Samia Hassan takes office? She's the first female president the nation has ever had.
It's good, actually. It's, you know, we are in a sorrow moment, but a bit happy to see the new president in place, Madam Samia. The president is the first female president who had the 3 record in Tanzania. First of all, she was a female who became the first Vice Speaker of the Constitution Assembly, and then he broke the history also to become the first lady to be the Vice President, and now she broke also his history to become the first female president in the country. So the reception was good from people, though we are not in a good situation to celebrate, but the reception, when people speak about him, they have faith to her. They see that the president has now has capability to run the country, because she was on the top position assisting the president for 5 years. She had that exposure. She knows how to many things on how to run the country. So people are happy and they are confident that Mrs. Samia, she can take the country up to where we want to be in these 5 years.
Well, quite understandable, as the country is still in mourning. But like you said, all eyes are on her. to see how she would run the nation, you know, in terms of personality. She's said to be in contrast to Mr. Magufuli. Is it likely that she takes a different approach from her predecessor in governing the country?
You know, this thing is a very contradiction and it's very sacred to someone. And you know, she was like assistant to Magufuli, and people they were saying that's what rumors. So she was controversy and everything, but it was rumors. What we are waiting to see is she is the in charge now. Maybe she can take a different approach, or maybe she can decide to be in the same approach as President Magufuli was. But the main thing is she's in charge, and we are waiting for her to decide on where, because she has a vision. Though they were sharing the same vision which was set by the CCM in the manifesto, but on the way to implement the manifesto is the approach. Maybe she can take the way around, or maybe she can stick to the plan that she has with the Mr. President, the former president, when they were discussing together. You know, when you're coming to power, you may decide otherwise, or you may think because I was the president, I was the vice president, I was not having the final say, but now I have the final say, I can take this way. So it's something to wait and see, but we hope that she will have some differences in the way that Mr. Magufuli was leading this country. Because as a human being, she may think that we have to take this path instead of this path. As a human being, that can happen. So we are waiting for her, but we hope that it will not be very, very far from what Mr. Magufuli was leading.
Well, speaking of differences, let's talk about COVID-19 now. The WHO has congratulated her and said they are looking forward to working with her to, you know, help in tackling that situation in the country. Has she said anything on this? Because we know how former President John Magufuli was quite a controversial person on COVID-19 in Tanzania.
It's too early. Now she's shown, and she just bring up the table on how the value of the former president will be, and just taking to the country, addressing the country on a few issues. And she said she will speak more on other time, but now as we are in this situation, it's half. And now she is in the cabinet. She is leading the cabinet, so we are waiting for to see what will be the come out from the cabinet meeting, and that's where maybe the direction will be. We'll start to see where the country is moving after this the first meeting.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Hassan Bumbuli, Tanzanian journalist. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Okay, thank you.
South Africa's anti-apartheid era president, F.W. de Klerk, has been diagnosed with cancer. A statement from his foundation says that the former president was found with mesothelioma, which is a cancer that affects the tissues that lines the lungs. Mr. de Klerk, the last white man to lead South Africa, turned 85 on Thursday. The foundation says he will start a course of immunotherapy next week. Mr. de Klerk shared the 1993 Nobel Peace Prize with late Nelson Mandela after helping to negotiate an end to apartheid. The Human Rights Watch has urged South Sudan to establish a hybrid court with the African Union in order to address the human rights violations in the country. The rights body asked South Sudan to heed last week's call by the UN Security Council to support the protection of civilians and stop interfering with the UN peacekeeping mission's monitoring of human rights abuses in the country. In February, UN human rights experts asked South Sudan to make a genuine effort to restore stability, including bringing those who have committed atrocities to justice. In their reports to the UN Human Rights Council, the experts cited growing levels of violence in recent months, with hundreds of civilians killed or displaced, and urged South Sudan to act swiftly to get the court up and running. South Sudan in January agreed to establish a hybrid court to prosecute human rights violations after years of delay. A 5-month siege by jihadists of a village in Mali has been temporarily lifted following negotiations. Jihadists from an al-Qaeda affiliate laid siege to the village of Farabougou in central Mali last October. During this time, the village has been defended by hunters from the Dogon people as the Malian army has been unable to break the siege. The ceasefire terms mean the residents can move freely for 1 month, and the Dogon hunters will let the jihadists into the village to preach. Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. It has become increasingly important to teach youths about money managing skills so they can be more aware of how to be financially responsible and capable adults in the future. Driving conversations that can help them develop the necessary financial skills teaches them how to care for money and understand the changes in the economic systems they live in. Young people thrive on technology, and embracing it as part of their financial education can also promote learning. Technology has made this easier with digital financial education programs to promote digital financial literacy. Well, our guest today on Africa Tech is Wole Atumbi. He's a product operations lead at Mono. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa Tech.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Let's begin with what digital financial literacy is and its importance in teaching young people about money matters.
Yeah, thank you very much again. I'm Wale Asubi. I lead product operations at Mono. So on digital financial literacy, I think the very first thing is understanding that financial literacy is not just digital. You guys, before today or before the ancient age of technology, we had people saving in something Yorubas call colos and in small boxes. You get, but right now you see people using financial technology apps and websites like Piggyvest, Carrywise, and all of these apps and websites that technology has brought us. So as to financial literacy, I directly just put it as to how individuals can possess the skill sets that helps them manage their personal finance better. But yeah.
Well, we're talking about young people, who could easily get bored at doing things they find themselves doing, so to speak. How do you think we can make financial literacy fun and engage them?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. I think for young people who are like just growing up, I think it all starts from the home. You get so you see the Yoruba ideas that says that where a child will go it starts from like the home. So parents and young adults who are around kids can teach people and teach these kids around gaining confidence as regards money matters, which can then help their confidence when they then grow up, then negotiate salaries and all of those things. But yeah, I think for young people and young kids, there are tools and there are tools that they can then use that parents can get for young people to master how to then like manage their finances better.
All right. Technology has made things easier. How do you think young people can harness technology in promoting their own financial education?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think young people can, through technology and the recent advent of financial technology apps, they can be able to understand how to then save better. Also understand how to invest in options and invest in like money market funds. Because what happens today is that young adults don't necessarily in the past understand like how to then take like their finances seriously. So with the advent of apps like Giverse, Carrywise, social payments apps like Abeg, you can be able to save
Likewise.
your money. You can also invest your money in assets, money market funds. So yeah, you can employ the use of financial technology apps on their phones, and they're all readily accessible to everybody.
All right, just before I let you go, in practical terms now, we know the financial space has evolved with technology. How can we develop strategies and programs that will help promote digital financial education?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think for that, what happens is that for the likes of financial technology companies today, they can then do outreach programs to universities and schools, and educate these young adults while they're still like in universities to understand how to manage money and how to then like invest and all that, such that when they then graduate from the university and from school whatnot, it then becomes easier because they then have like the understanding from school. Also, universities can also integrate financial technology courses into like their curriculums, which can then help students to then improve their knowledge of financial literacy.
All right, then, thank you so much. Wale Atumbi, thank you for joining us on Africa Tech.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nice to hear.
That's it on the program for today and for the week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke. Have a great weekend.